Hello and welcome to Week in Review. And before we start the program proper, I'd like to say Trust TV is clocking one. Hooray, right? So congratulations to us, to Trust TV, and of course viewers, because you've been part of the journey for a whole 1 year. But on Week in Review, we take a look at some of the biggest events that occurred in the past 1 week, and that will be different because that's what we'll be doing for the next couple of minutes. So we start with this story. It's starting on kind of mixed feelings, but on a very good note because 7 out of the 35 remaining victims of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack have regained freedom after 135 days in captivity. Among those released is a family of 6 and a 60-year-old woman. And the release of the 7 victims now brings the total number of those released to 36. It was tears as they reunite with their loved ones and the victims narrate their ordeal.
It's been tough, but we thank God for His grace and mercy. And the prayers, we know that we've prayed and we know that we've had the prayers of our loved ones with us back in the forests there. It hasn't been easy. Everyone has been sick. I came back with my daughter sick because there has not been medication. She hasn't been responding to treatment that from the medications they've given. But we thank God for mercy and grace, and we just pray that the rest of the people that we left back would be released as soon as possible. So whatever the government or whoever it is that can support to get them out, we pray that they do whatever they can to get them out as soon as possible because the situation is actually tough.
I'm Abu Bakr Idris Garba. I am a civil servant working in the National Assembly Service Commission. I would like to sincerely thank Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala who made this possible for myself and my entire family, and especially Sheikh Gumi, who is here present to receive us, including my family, friends, and all who have supported and stayed with us throughout this ordeal. And I would like to say one thing, just to add to what Sheikh Gumi has said. There is no bound for negotiations. 65 of us boarded March 28, 2022. We boarded the train, a federal government train. For goodness sake, what does it take the federal government to negotiate, to sit with these people, find out their grievances? They have innocent people, hardworking people, men who have left their children, they have left their wives for over 135 days. There are people there stranded. They don't have any means. Please, we're pleading on the federal government. Please, sit with these people. Seek Sheikh Gumi's audience, please. By the grace of God, with him here, he could assist and alleviate and help solve these problems.
And still talking about the Abuja-Kaduna train attack, taxi drivers and traders at the Rigasa railway station want government to hasten the rescue of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack victims to enable train service to resume. They say that the suspension of the train services resulted in the loss of many jobs as many families now find it difficult to survive. The report.
This place used to be very busy with passengers, traders, and taxi drivers. But for over months now, the place has been deserted and many jobs lost due to the suspension of train service by the Nigerian Railway Corporation after terrorists attacked Kaduna-Abuja train, abducted many, and killed some. Taxi drivers who convey arriving passengers from the station to different destinations are almost idle as patronage has fallen to almost zero level. The suspension of train services has paralyzed our business here. We are in hardship. Some of us had to relocate to other places in search of jobs. The place is deserted as no business activity is taking place. We find it difficult to get food as there are no passengers to convey. Yakubu Abubakar is a tea and bread seller at the Rigasa railway station. He once employed 6 people prior to the suspension of train services, but now he can barely cater for his family. About 95% of traders left this place, although some people do come here to while away time and go back home. I used to have 6 people that helped me manage my business, but now I manage it alone because I can't pay them. They have to leave. They appeal to the government to hasten the rescue of the remaining train attack passengers and secure the train route to enable train service to resume so that their businesses can bounce back. We want the government to make more effort in bringing back the train service so that our business will bounce back. We appeal to the government to save our source of livelihood by bringing back the train service and also rescue the remaining victims still in captivity. We appeal to the government to devise means of negotiating with the abductors of the train passengers so that our business will revamp. The resumption of train service is expected to rekindle hopes in many households at Pigasa community and beyond, as business activities will be revamped. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
And still on matters of insecurity, at least 9 people have been confirmed dead, over 6,000 others displaced by floods across 11 local government areas of Kano State. Idris Jibrin reports that properties worth over 500 million naira were lost to the disaster. Take a look.
Ibrahim Bala is one of the recent flood victims in Ajingi local government area of Kano State, whose 10-year-old daughter was killed, house and farmland destroyed after a 40-hour uninterrupted rainfall. He says he has no home, no farmland at the moment. It was unfortunate. It's really sad. We experienced rainfall for over 40 hours and I lost my daughter. I lost my home. I lost my farmland. As I'm talking to you now, I do not have anything. I don't know what to do. We are only calling on government to continue to assist us. Otherwise, we don't know where to put ourselves. As for the record before the State Emergency Management Agency, 6,417 people were affected by the flood, which also killed 9 and injured 9.
We had Kilu local government 306 with no casualty, Rana local government 62 victims with 1 casualty and 2 were injured. Lambata local government we had 1,175 and 3 were injured and 3 were dead and 5 were injured. Including 3 small children with their mother carrying 9-month pregnancy.
Recently, the Ajingi Local Government Council confirmed that over 500 people were displaced by the flood, while 3 others have been killed.
We experienced the flood disaster in this local government, which resulted in the deaths of 3 people. There is Toranki, Karamakama, Ajingi, almost all the Ajingi local government are affected. To say rather than to thank the government of Kano State and the ES for the same what brought this local government. We have nothing to say. We never experienced this.
Although investigation is still ongoing to identify other areas, but the State Emergency Management Agency is calling on residents to stay away from areas vulnerable to flood attack and report any incidents to the agency for immediate assistance. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
As the incessant terrorist attack continued to ravage communities in Katsina State, and different communities, about 6 communities were attacked during the week, and during those separate attacks, about 11 people were reportedly killed. dozens displaced and hundreds abducted, while several others escaped with gunshot wounds. Trust TV's Abdullahi Yamadi visited some of the survivors at Federal Teaching Hospital in Katsina and now reports.
These survivors narrowly escaped death from terrorist attacks in their communities and can recollect what happened even in hospital bed.
I am from Yorgoje village of Kankara local government. I was shot by terrorists who came to kill a shop owner in my community. I was shot by the terrorists in the process of killing the shop owner.
This victim from Matazu local government is unhappy with security operatives for their inability to contain the deteriorating situation, but he also blames activities of informants for the escalation of insecurity in Katsina State. My village was attacked. The terrorists are unleashing mayhem on our communities, yet no one is doing anything about it. DPO Musawa is doing his very best, but his men lack the capacity to confront the terrorists every time. This witness recounts the attacks on Shola quarters and Chechnya in Katsina metropolis, which left one person dead, a couple abducted, and 3 others hospitalized. The terrorists come to Shola quarters and Chechnya in large numbers and heavily armed. They targeted the local vigilante and killed one. They were shooting sporadically to scare residents before gaining access into their victims' houses. This is the first time in 2 months Katsina City is coming under brutal terrorist attack. Residents are happy with the recent Air Force strikes on some terrorist camps where dozens were neutralized. They are, however, appealing for synergy between all security operatives in tackling the menace. The most puzzling of all is how the terrorists attack their victims without resistance from any security operative in recent times. Residents see the dire need for political will in dealing with the terrorists from governments to allow people access their farms on other social activities. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Coast Television News, Katsina.
And as terrorists advanced towards areas that were hitherto peaceful, modifying tactics and strategies, Kankia residents want government to adopt new measures in fighting criminality. And this is coming few days after terrorists attacked Kankia town, where they separately abducted a housewife and 2 children from the community. Trust TV Abdullah Yamadi again filed in this report.
Kankia town is the headquarters of Kankia local government area of Katsina State. Terrorists bearing dangerous weapons stormed by Kinkaswa Kankia around 2:45 a.m. on Sunday, smashing walls to gain access into houses of their victims. 3 persons who are still in captivity were abducted during that raid on Sunday night. The terrorists were said to have operated freely for over an hour without any response from security operatives despite distress calls put through to them by the residents. It was horrifying the way they forced themselves into my house. When I noticed their presence, I scaled my house fence to escape, but they abducted my first wife. The terrorists used diggers to break through the wall of my house to gain access. Though there were a series of abductions for ransom and armed robbery cases in the past, the number of attacks in Kankia town have been minimal compared to other neighboring local government areas. Unlike other communities affected by terrorist attacks, Kankia residents are determined not to flee their ancestral homes for the fear of other attacks. They are promising to be more organized to assist security operatives to confront the terrorists head-on. The attackers caught us unaware. Many residents were scared upon hearing sporadic gunshots that night. I couldn't sleep throughout that night because of the fear of attack. Worried by the situation, stakeholders here are saying the well-coordinated attack wouldn't have been successful without credible information from informants. However, authorities are saying they are taking steps to forestall reoccurrence of the ugly attack.
You see, even in that Kankia attack, it's not that our men were not there. We went there, in this fight we are planning, we have come with formidable strategies in dealing with this new modus operandi, which I will not say it here.
As at the time of compiling this report, the suspected terrorists have started contacting families of the abductees, demanding for ransom to secure their release. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And 8 months after failing to commence investigative public hearing into the rape and death of 14-year-old bordering student of Premier Academy Lugbe Abuja, Karin Hapuj Ondodo Akpaha, Amnesty International has written to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, to comply with its resolution by commencing forthwith the public hearing. Country Director Amnesty International Nigeria Sayo Jigo, in the letter, called for an immediate, impartial and effective as well as independent investigation and the prosecution of all those found with no recourse to the death penalty. In a motion packed by Mark Gbela on the 7th of December 2021, the House of Representatives had resolved to conduct investigative public hearing of the said Premier Academy with a view to uncovering the circumstances which led to the rape and death of its 14-year-old student. Concerned by the non-compliance of the lawmakers, Amnesty International has called out the lawmakers to toe the path of honor by commencing the exercise. And you're watching Week in Review on Trust Television. More stories after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You are still watching Week in Review on Trust Television. Week in Review, we take a look at some of the events you must have missed that have occurred in the past 7 days. Now let's move to a legal matter that occurred during the week where Magistrate Court in Osogbo, state's capital of Osun State, has remanded a notorious serial killer, Hamid Rashid, at a correctional center in Ilesha. The accused person was taken to court by police anti-courtism squad under heavy security as large crowds stormed the court to catch a glimpse of the notorious cultist who had allegedly killed several people. The Chief Magistrate Olusegun Ayilara did not take the plea of the accused person and was remanded at the correctional center in Ilesha. The Chief Magistrate adjourned the case till October 7th. Speaking with Trust TV's Hamid Oyegbade, counsel to the accused person Taiwo Awokule said Magistrate Court lacks jurisdiction to handle the case because the offences of his client are capital in nature. Take a look.
It was arraigned, and because some of the offences in the charge are capital in nature, so the magistrate lacks the jurisdiction to handle those counts that have to do with capital offences. So that is the reason why the court ordered that he be remanded in the correctional center, while the police are ordered to duplicate the case file for submission to the Director of Public Prosecutions, Osun State.
And now to election matters. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it has not backdated documents to recognize Senate President Ahmed Lawan and former Akwa Ibom State Governor Godswill Akpabio as senatorial candidates. A National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education Committee of INEC, Festus Okoye, said this on Tuesday last week in Abuja that the forms of the two were not published by the Commission. Okoye explained that the decision of the Commission triggered legal action which are still ongoing, and it will be illogical to submit doctored documents recognizing the duo as candidates when the matter was clearly sub judice. There have been controversies after Bashir Machina won the APC's ticket for Yobe North Senatorial District, while Udom Ekwodom won the party's primary election for Akwa Ibom Northwest, which was monitored by INEC officials. And the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Kano State is assuring its supporters that the party will resolve the crisis within the party before the 2023 general elections. Idris Tribune reports that the leadership of the party has been factionalized, with each faction claiming authenticity. His report.
According to the Muhammad Abacha-led faction of the party, the crisis within the PDP in Kano is being masterminded by the national leadership of the PDP, which they argued is working for the ruling APC, whereas the Wali-led faction of the party is accusing former Senator Konkoso of controlling the party.
The national headquarters is not comfortable with Sagagi-led faction because they are well formed by the Konkoso. And there is no way, if you take the number of the leadership, the ward level, we have 17 people as a ESCO. In the local government, we have 18 people as a leaders. If you add the number, 17 people times 484, and the 18 people times 44, and plus 39 people in the state, it will give you the number of more than 9,000 people. There is no way, and any sense somebody will not understand or agree that all of them, they boycott Congress and they didn't follow the Congress.
They are listening to people to whom they are used to failures, electoral failures. To them it's a normal thing. So they have to be concoction that show whether Sagagi is working for Konkoso, because that's the only thing that remains for them to be relevant in the party.
For the Wali-led faction, the primaries which produced Muhammad Abacha was not sanctioned by the party's national leadership, neither conducted in accordance with the law.
If Sagagi wanted to conduct primary in Kano State, first of all, he has to print his form for the gubernatorial candidate. And he has to screen them. Then he can do a primary to them. But they purchase their form at the national headquarters. And when the national headquarters picks the date for screening of the candidate, they went to Abuja national headquarters. And the panel screens them and gives them clearance certificate that they are screened to participate in a primary election in Kano State. The one who sells the form for you and screen you has the power to do you primary and submit your name to INEC. So Shehu Sagagi, he didn't sell the form for them. He didn't screen them. Where did he get the authority, or where did he get the power to do a primary to them?
Meanwhile, the Abacha-led faction argued that the primaries was conducted in accordance with the INEC guidelines and was witnessed by the INEC officials, hence recognized Muhammad Abacha as the legitimate gubernatorial candidate of the party in Kano.
What happened is not INEC doing. It is the work of our party national headquarters, especially the Department of Organization. They are the one who uploaded those names. I even suspect some of those at the helms of affairs of the party at the national level. I suspect they are working for APC. That's what they are trying to make sure that PDP didn't win, especially here in Kano.
Although both factions will head to court to resolve their differences, but for now, the PDP has two gubernatorial candidates in Kano State. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
And back in Abuja, more protests have continued to greet the Muslim ticket of the All Progressives Congress (APC) ahead of the 2023 elections. Trust TV's Fatima Musa, in a report, gives us an update on the latest protests which took place at the Unity Fountain here in the Federal Capital Territory.
Displaying different placards on the streets of the Federal Capital Territory, this group has not just joined many voices raising concerns about the choices of same religion for the presidential and vice presidential flag bearers of the ruling APC, but also demand for the vice presidential slot come 2023. An open letter to back up their demands was read by their representative.
An open letter to the President, Muhammadu Buhari, give us vice presidential candidate and take the Director General, APC presidential campaign. The APC stakeholders and supporters across the 6 northern central states, including the Federal Capital Territory, are constrained to write this open letter to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are worried that the various indices at play with our great party do not suggest that the Christians from northern Nigeria are considered in the party scheme of affairs.
To these ones, justice will not only be seen to have done to the Christian population if the ruling party selects a Christian deputy from the north-central zone of the country.
As concerned stakeholders of the party in the north-central, we feel humiliated by the actions of the party leadership in recent times, which do not demonstrate ethnic and religious inclusion. We consequently feel the appointment of Governor Simon Bako, along as the Director General of the Presidential Campaign Council, is an insult to our collective sensitivity as a devoted party faithful in the North Central.
He appealed to the President to wade into the matter to ensure that they are carried along in the scheme of things. Fatima Musa, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Week in Review. Remember to join us next time, same station. And of course, for more updates, you can follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for watching and congratulations to us for marking our first anniversary. That is on Trust TV.